This car has been in an accident before, which I was not aware of. Hey there YouTube, welcome to the ACH Automotive channel. Today we are going to try and work on our 1997 Ford Mustang Super Coupe swap. Got a lot to do to this project. It's been a while since we've worked on it. Probably, I don't know, probably the last time I moved this car was back in the spring to where it was now in hopes that I would work on it further. We have a brand new gas tank that I put together in one of the last videos that we did on this car. It's all ready to go. We've just got to get it in the car, and we've got to get the underside of the car cleaned up and ready for pour 15 before we can put the gas tank in and, you know, clear all the cobwebs off, all that sort of thing. I want to get the old exhaust off because we're gonna get brand new exhaust for it. I have the transmission is back in the car along with the engine, so we've got to I want to put the drive shaft back in it and get that moving. And to do that, I think the first thing we're going to do is we've got to go put air in the right front tire and throw our ramps underneath it and start working on it. We got our Mustang up on all four ramps. This is kind of what I like to refer to as the poor man's lift. If you don't have room or the funds or whatever for an actual lift, or even a little platform, these are a great alternative. You can find these ramps. Usually, I don't think I paid anything for this set that I have here, two different sets. I had a buddy and a family member each give me a set that were in their way. So great alternative if you don't have funds or access to a lift, because you can still get under there and do some work. It is a little difficult at times, but it does work in a pinch. So, and it's fairly stable. I prefer to do this than put jack stands under it if I'm going to lay under the car. It just, I don't know, makes me feel more comfortable, I guess. Now that we've got our Mustang up on the four ramps, let me crawl under there and we're going to work on cutting off the rest of the old exhaust. I'm going to work on getting the old exhaust strap pulled off, and then we'll see what we have to do to start getting the underside where the gas tank goes ready for pour 15 and prepping it so that we can get the gas tank and the lines back in. Got a light set up under here so we can take a look at some stuff. You can see I knocked a little bit of rust off this car. Unfortunately, it's been sitting for a while. I've owned it for about 10 years. Most of its time has been in the garage, but what I noticed, and I knew this was kind of here, but I didn't realize how bad it was. It's starting to rust right here. This is really the rough spot. These cars typically rust in the back, and everything's solid other than right about there, and there's some rust starting on the back of the quarter panels, or the dog leg area. So I think we're gonna change up the game a little bit here. Originally I was gonna cut the exhaust out and work on prepping this for pour 15. I think what we're going to do is I'm still going to cut the exhaust out with the Sawzall, but I'm going to work on taking the rear bumper off so that we can work on figuring out how we're going to fix this so it doesn't rust any further. And we're going to end up probably having to wire wheel a lot of this under here. I had painted it with probably some Rust-Oleum or something when I was a kid, so it was not the right way to do it, and now I'm paying for it by I've got to correct it. So, and we've got a little bit of rust starting right here, so I think we're going to take this down as much as possible, and then I will pour 15 it. Pop this into our Sawzall. I don't have it plugged in. There we go. Now we'll go under the car. I'll get some safety glasses on and we'll cut the exhaust off. We're gonna probably cut it right back here at the end of the muffler. There we go. right. Now, this guy should. I might have to cut the hangers or remove them. That'll be the next step. But now it should come out. They do make a tool to get rid of get these the hangers out, but I don't own one. There we go. You just don't want to drop the muffler in your face because that would hurt. There we go. All right, that's off. Now we got to get the tailpipe piece off. There we go. Perfect. Sometimes you just gotta talk to it. And then see how we get this out. There we go. Well, I've been meaning to do that for a while. Cut the rest of that off. Because I'll be putting a brand new exhaust on this. I mean, pretty much everything in this car will be brand new when we're done. So let me get that cleaned up. And then we're gonna work on taking this rear bumper and rear bumper support off so we can see what it looks like under here and what we got to do to fabricate a piece. Well, that's what our crusty looking exhaust looks like, and you can see the muffler is covered in oil, and I think what happened is the pinion seal in the rear axle has let go. I noticed this when we moved here a few years ago. I had power washed underneath it before we moved, and I don't know if I have a video of that, probably not. And there was the underside, the back underside was all covered in that thick grease, and you can see it seeped around the pinion seal on the axle. So we'll be replacing that axle at some point. So it was making noise, if I remember right, when I last drove it 10 something years ago. So we'll be putting a better axle in it. What I want to show you now is we're gonna take this gas tank strap that's been hanging here forever and in my way. I just want to show you how to take it out. It looks more complicated to get out than it is, but there's a hole here and there's a hole on the other side. Now the hole on the other side is much bigger. So what I've done is I take a screwdriver, I stick it through there, we'll push the pin out and it'll come out the other side. Let's see if I can get this lined up again. Power is flickering in the house, so hopefully we don't lose power. And it is a bit tricky to get it lined up. There we go. There's our pin, there's our strap. Now it's out. I think I bought a brand new pin. I definitely have brand new straps. So that's how you take it out. Now that we got some of the stuff out of the way, you can take a little bit better of a look of what's going on up here. It's pretty, this is probably the worst part of the car. The rest of the car is fairly rust free. So that's why we're gonna pull this bumper assembly off, and I'm gonna see what we've gotta do to clean this up. I've gotta get some, Eastwood's makes a product you can squirt in the frame rails, because these are notorious for rotting back here, as are they up front. So these are not rotted through, these are just a little surface rusty. So we'll clean all this up. We'll start cleaning this up today and start the process to be able to get under here all, you know, ready for pour 15. And then once we get all the paint work and stuff done under here, we'll be able to finish putting the lines in and put the gas tank back in, and we'll be on our way to you know, continuing this build. One of the things that I was really bad about when I was younger was documenting what screws and nuts and bolts went where. So I have a bunch of little baggies, and I'm going to write down as we take this bumper off, because I burnt myself with the front bumper, and I'm going to probably have to order new hardware because I don't know what I did with it, because I was not good about documenting what parts went where when I was younger. So we're going to put stuff in baggies. Next step to get this bumper off, you can see my trunk is full of parts. This piece here slips on over like that, and there are 4 push pins. I had popped those off camera because I couldn't remember how this came apart. So we've just got to get this trunk carpet out of the way a little bit, and then there are bolts along the top here that hold this bumper to the car. Once we'll get those out, and then underneath there are some push pins and I think a couple of additional bolts. What I did find, actually, when I looked off camera, this frame rail up here on this side does have a pinhole in the back towards close to where all this rust is. We may have some rust repair to do. I wasn't expecting that on this car. This car is a fairly clean chassis. and I've had it garaged pretty much the entire time that I've had it. So I don't know what its history was beforehand, so I was not really expecting to be. That was one of the reasons I bought this car, because if you were to, a lot of times they rot in here, they rot on the strut towers, and this car is solid and clean. So it's really just in this back corner there's some little bits of rust to deal with, and even over here is nice and solid and clean. There's no bubbling, there's nothing. And the strut towers, if you were to look at them, and I don't know if we'll see because I got the engine and stuff in there, they're both very, very clean for this vintage car. Don't mind the mess I've got to clean out underneath it. There's a bunch of work we've got to do up here as well. So and the floorboards on the car are pretty clean. So let me work on getting this bumper off, and we'll keep at it. Finally got all the bolts, or top bolts, out of the for the bumper cover out. I believe I've got every single one of them out. They're 6.7/16 bolts. There are 2 that are back here behind this fender well. There are, I don't know, half a dozen or so back here, and another 2 back here. So we've got the top half done. We've got the screws out of the side here. Now we need to crawl back underneath. There are at least 3 push pins, like Christmas tree type push pins, and I think there are a couple bolts, and then this bumper should slide right off, and then we can take the brace off the back here, and we can really get a look at what we're dealing with as far as rust goes. 3, 4, there's 5, it looks like 5 push pins that we'll have to pop out here. We'll just use our trim stick. You might have to go behind it just a little bit. You don't want to break the bumper, so we'll just start it like that. There we go. There's 1. 2. 3. 4. And this should be the last one here. This one, of course, will be the toughest one. And that one broke, so we'll have to get some new push pins. Not the end of the world. I might even have some of these size kicking around. So now, we got 1 push pin here and 1 push pin on the other side. So let's get these guys out, and then I think the bumper should come off. This one we may want to use a smaller tool on. And this one may not come off either. May have to just, oh, there we go. All right, yeah, we'll get some new push pins. There we go. I think this car's been apart before, not by me. All right, we should be able to try and take the bumper cover off now. Let's see if we can get this rear bumper off. There we go. There's one side. Don't want to break it, so gentle. There we go. Perfect. All right, bumper cover is off. Then we'll pull. Definitely got to clean under here. We'll pull this foam off here, this crash foam, and then we'll pull the crash bar off. Well, I'd say this car has definitely. This confirms whether this car has been apart before, and it definitely has, not by me. This is supposed to be riveted on there with rivets, and they're not there, so and that crash bar it should be painted the same color as the car, and it's not. So this car has been in an accident before, which I was not aware of. So that's kind of interesting. Hopefully I don't find something ugly under there. After investigating a little more, this crash bar, definitely not the original crash bar. First of all, it's missing bolts. The crash foam wasn't riveted to it like it was supposed to be. I definitely think this car's definitely been at least in one collision. And the reason I say that is because over here, you can see, oh, this door was blue at one point in time. I don't know if the camera will pick up on that. So that door was blue. That's not the original door. And this just confirms basically that, because this should be at least the front one, the front crash bar and the crash bar on one of the parts cars that I had color match the car, and this does not color match the car. It's just primered or black or whatever it is. So hopefully, and it actually looks like the brackets might be bent, so we might have to get another one out. Let me get this off and we'll see what it looks like. I got the bolts to hold these supports off, and this car is, I'm pretty confident, has been in some kind of a rear end collision before. This bolt and washer, I don't believe are factory, so we've got to pull that. Then this bolt in here is color matched to the car, and you can see it's been off before. On this side, we don't have a bolt over here, and we have a bolt here, so there's only one bolt holding it on this side. And then you can see, I don't think that this body seam filler, I have not picked it. This is how I found it. I don't think this is factory. If it is, I mean, I know some of it's fallen off, but it looks like it's been redone. So I'm gonna guess maybe this back panel was replaced at one point in the car's life, as was this crash bar. Definitely been replaced, and whoever did it did a pretty shoddy job, I think. I mean, it looks straight. I'll know more when I get this crash bar off. And then you can also see down here on the quarter panel, it got bumped here at some point. So I don't think this will, I mean, there's definitely some spots here, but the bumper covers it, so, or the bumper cover covers it. So I don't think, these shouldn't really bother anything. Everything lined up okay from what I could tell. So we'll get this stripped down, and then I'm probably gonna, at some point, won't be in this video, we're gonna shove the car outside and give it a real good bath. Oh, first of all, I want to cover that engine up real well, but we'll shove the car outside, give it a real good bath, and see what it looks like. So let me get this crash bar off, and then we'll go from there. That'll probably largely be the end of it for this video, because it's probably getting a little long at this point, but that's the update on the car. So let me get these off and we'll take a look. All right, I'm gonna take our bolts out here. Alrighty, we got our crash bar off here, and this is the spot that I was pretty concerned about, and it's definitely rotted. Way more than I thought it was, that's for sure. So I am gonna have to do something about that. We're gonna have to figure that out. I'll have to go to the drawing board and see what I can find back for parts back here, or if I got to fabricate something. It's spot welded here, so we'll have to, before we can paint, this is all gonna have to get fixed. This side doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty good, so I think we'll just be able to clean this up and put some Pour 15 on it, and I'll probably end up Pour 15ing or something from here down, maybe. I don't know, we'll see, and then it'll have to get painted. But yeah, this is way worse than what I thought it was. I didn't think this car had any major rust like this in it, so kind of sets me back a little bit. So we'll have to, I'll have to come up with something and see if we can get some, either I'm gonna have to get the tools to fabricate a piece in here, or I'm gonna have to you know, I don't know if I can get this panel, probably have to cut it off another car and then tack it in or something. So I'll have to come up with something. The frame rail back here does have a slight little tiny pinhole in it, so I think we'll be able to fix that. All right, guys, well, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Got quite a bit accomplished. Got the old exhaust off, got the car up on 4 ramps, got the bumper cover off, got the crash bar off, found where the rust is. This is not going to be just a quick, simple, let's clean it up and Pour 15 it, throw the gas tank back in. I want to do this right. This is a car I've had for a long time. I don't have my first car. This is close to my first car as I'll ever get. So I want to make sure this is done right. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and I was not expecting to see all this rust under here. Nor was I expecting to find that the car had been punched in the back before, although I don't think that that's going to be too big of a problem. I think we can just clean up some of the body seam sealer and move on from that. It's going to really be the rust that we're going to have to figure out how to fix. So that's going to test my skill set. I'm pretty good mechanically, body-wise. As you can see from the dart behind me, I had started to teach myself some of that. But I haven't, you know, I'm not a professional by any means, so this is, I guess, maybe good practice. So if you like this video, guys, sorry it's kind of getting a little long here. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If something you want to know about the car, leave it in the comments below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.